This is a video of how to teach juggling progressions to older adults to build social, emotional, physical, and cognitive capacities in a fun environment, which is circus. First, we start with one ball juggling, and the point here is to get comfortable with throwing and catching the ball. First, you track with your eyes, and then as that becomes comfortable, you look through the room and use your peripheral vision to track the ball. When that feels good, we can add balance in as a challenging factor. So balancing on one leg and then switching to the other after 10 throws or so. Modifications can be made if balance is challenging, like by using a wall to assist and then just catching and throwing with one hand. Whenever a ball drops, what do? There's 3 ways that this course will help you pick up the ball. The first is you can come into a short stance squat with one knee down and come back up. The second way, if the ball drops again, which it inevitably will, is to have more of an assisted squat with hands on knees and then reach one arm down to pick the ball up. And then when the ball drops a third time, people who feel comfortable can move into a deeper squat to pick the ball up. How people get down to the ground to pick the ball up and come back up is up to where they're at in their movement practice. Additionally, all of the squat techniques will be trained in warm-ups and at the beginning of classes and then integrated into the juggling curriculum. Next, we move into 2-ball juggling. So there's a few rules for 2-ball juggling. First is you always throw ball number 1 first and ball number 2 second. This way you're working your right and your left hands. Second is you throw the second ball higher than the first ball, and this gives you time to catch. And third is you want to cross the balls so that the right ball is coming to the left shoulder and the left ball is coming to the right shoulder. Once 2-ball juggling feels good, there's an opportunity to bring a partner into the play. So here now you have to communicate with somebody else who's throwing first, who is throwing second, how their throws feel, and explore a little bit if something goes well or something doesn't go well. So 2-ball juggling and with partners is really wonderful for building social connections as well as challenging your techniques. Now we move into the exciting 3-ball juggling. 3-ball juggling is really where the pattern starts to develop. So we have ball number 1, ball number 2, and ball number 3, which I just pointed to, and they are thrown in that specific order. This is done seated, and at first there's no catching. So 1, 2, 3. And once that feels good a few times, making sure that the pattern is correct, then we might move, that's ball number 2 and ball number 3. So we're going to catch number 2, catch number 3. Drop number 1, catch number 2, catch number 3. This is a really great way to train. You don't have to worry about catching all of the balls. 3-ball juggling can also be done in different seated positions. So here we're still catching ball number 2 and 3, maybe catching number 1 and 3, or letting number 1 and 3 drop. All of these patterns can be played with depending on how people are progressing. But the key here is now we're sitting in a wide-legged stance. We can switch to a 90-90 position to work on hip mobility. And again, like with the squats, these are all trained in the warm-up for the class. And juggling then can happen in various seated positions to also work on your hip strength and mobility. When a ball drops, it's a perfect opportunity to lean forward and reach for the ball. And this also shows how we can use juggling balls, not just for juggling, but for assisted stretching, for creating motivated stretching, and to track progress and challenge people to see one week they might make it a certain distance or a certain rotation, and maybe next week they can reach further, and that can be a nice indicator of progress and that their movements are having a benefit. So these are some other ideas of how to use juggling balls for stretching. This work is informed by holistic circus therapy for the juggling methodology, which has an occupational therapy lens, as well as movement mapping methodology, and that's with Justin Wolfer.